If you've ever done a quick Google search of a category, say pet groomers in Chicago, you'll see a list of local businesses, in this case local pet groomers, which all have, hopefully, at least some reviews. And of course, the higher your rating, the better chance you have it showing up towards the top of the list. And when you look at the data out there, it shows that 4 out of every 5 consumers are gonna opt for the business they see that has those reviews, and good ones at that. That's why today I'm sharing my personal action plan to getting more reviews on Google, especially those 5-star ones. So let's jump right in. First, and this goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, if you want that 5-star review, you actually have to earn it, right? No amount of tricks or hacks are gonna help you if you don't start by exceeding your customers' expectations every chance you get. Is that easier said than done? Of course it is, but when you're starting a new business, this is the time when you have more time to devote to the few customers that you actually have. So treat them like gold. When you do that, you can be sure that you'll be getting more and more customers, and these customer service processes you put in place now will get baked in over time, helping you treat every future customer you get in the same amazing way. And when you give great customer service, a much bigger percentage of them will actually want to leave you a glowing review. We on the same page? All right, cool. So next, you want to make it as easy as possible for your customers to leave that review. The reality is, we as people want to help those who have helped us, but also being people, we'll usually only do it if it's easy. So that's why your first order of business here is to remove all the friction for your customers to leave you that highly sought after review. So how do we do that? Well, you'll need to create a Google business profile, which was formerly known as Google My Business. And once you have that listing set up, you want to head over to whitespark.ca/Google Review Link Generator. I'm linking that below. And then you want to enter the name of your business. So if you've got your Google business profile set up correctly, it should pop right up in the dropdown as you type it. Once you select it, a custom link and a QR code will be emailed to you. Next, you want to share this link, but listen up before hitting send to your entire client list. A great place to start is by adding that link to your email signature, and if you've got a team, asking them to include it in their work emails as well. You can also just use the auto-generated QR code that you'll get, which you can additionally print on any promotional materials you may have. So this is a great start, but how do you get a lot of those reviews? Short and sweet answer, you gotta ask. And when you do ask, be sure to always give a reason. You know, it may seem self-explanatory, but studies have shown that backing up a request with a reason produces a much more positive outcome, 50% more often than without giving one. The reason can be as simple as simply stating the facts. Something like, I'd love it if you left me a review of your experience with me because I'm a new business trying to promote my services, and your review will help more people find me online. The exception to this rule is to just be really mindful of Google's guidelines because they strictly enforce non-incentivized reviews. What that means is you may have once been able to offer a customer, 20% off your services in exchange for a review, but as it stands today, that is a definite no-no. But here's a caveat to that exception. So if you do have a team supporting you, you might want to offer a bonus to your team members for each review that they can get for the business. And then you just want to coach your team on being transparent when they ask their customers by having them simply let the customer know that when they leave a review, they'll be helping the team member receive a company bonus. Because people really are inherently caring, and this may pull at their heartstrings a bit to want to help that person out, especially if they had a particularly good experience. Another way to ask is through a personalized email that's specifically targeted to your customers that you know had a really positive experience with you. And timing is key here. So you want to ask them right after they've had that positive experience while it's still fresh in their mind, while they're the most excited or at least pleased with what you've done for them, which just so happens to be when they'll be the most likely to want to come through for you. And the third way to ask, which is my personal favorite, is to send out an automatic email blast through a sequence of emails that are set to send at specific times, spaced out accordingly. So we in the biz call this an automation. And this method is a little riskier because you may not know your customers well enough to gauge what they're gonna do when they see that email. And of course, you do want to avoid any negative reviews. Which brings us to that dreaded question, what if I get a negative review? Well, to combat the chances of public negative reviews, I recommend recording a very simple and short video of yourself, making the review request, and addressing any possible chances of getting that publicly negative review up front. So in this video, you want to ask your viewer to reach out directly to you if they had any concerns, and then to focus the review link only on what went well. You can then just embed that video directly into those emails we talked about. And there's also something to be said here about send times, right? Past studies show that emails sent between the hours of 1 to 3 p.m. usually have higher open rates, which you can probably just chalk up to people returning to their desks from a lunch break and going straight for their emails before diving back into work. However, with the pandemic switching up everyone's work days, you may want to do a little bit of research on your market before settling on a standard send time, or opt for a little marketing trick called trial and error. And if after all that you still get crickets, make friends with the follow-up email. Remind your customers how much you can help. And be sure to let them know in this follow-up email that they can just leave a star rating with no written review if they want to do that. A star rating on its own is never going to be as powerful as a full review, but it's better than nothing, especially when you realize that most people aren't reading through all the reviews anyway, right? They're simply scanning to see a number of reviews and that average star rating. So when you do start getting in those reviews, be sure to thank them in your response to the review that Google lets you leave. And speaking of emails, are they part of your content marketing strategy? If not, you want to head on over to this video where I'll show you how to use content marketing like a boss to explode your business reach and become the top player amongst all your competition. So click right here and I'll show you how it's done.